Okay, so the first part of laying out the point controls is to lay out the control itself. And we're just going to do a little turnout. Um, this is a blank drawing here. If I look at the references and turn off the reference, there's nothing in here. What I've done is I've referenced the proposed alignment from the geometry chapter, which has the main center line on it that the corridor is run on. So at this point, the corridor is run, and we're going to create another DGN file with a turnout alignment. Now, that alignment can be put in this same geometry. Um, I'm just it's about data management. So you could have the DGN, that in a different DGN. You could combine them. It depends on how you want to, put your alignments. I just have this separate. So I created a blank 2D DGN and then referenced the main corridor into it. Now I'm going to lay out this corridor relative to this alignment. So that's why I've referenced it here. Again, this is a blank drawing. I just have this referenced in. Now, when you reference this in, you're going to want to see the stationing. I'm just going to pick this straight lengthening here. And it's kind of hard to see, so just if you want to change your annotation scale to kind of make this a little bit bigger or more readable so that you could see where you're placing this. We're going to do it just in this stretch right in here, and I'm going to do it on the left side here. So the first thing is just to lay out this control turnout. And I'm just going to be using the lines and then placing reverse curves and then just complexing it together. The first thing I'm going to do here that I've already done actually is just set on my toggle bar. I set a feature definition, road generic, and then activated that so that we don't have to worry about the feature definition. So we go into place lines. The feature definition here is going to be grayed out because it's being driven by the toggle bar. Now I'm going to go and use Civil AccuDraw to lay this out because I want it to be relative to the stationing here along the main line. So I'm going to turn my Civil AccuDraw on and use the station offset option here. You'll see that it's added into the heads up prompts. Okay, so I am going to, in using Civil AccuDraw, you're going to set the origin. So I'm going to hit the O key and tap the center line here on the main line. So everything now on the Civil AccuDraw is relative to that. And let's lay out this first piece. And I'm going to do it at, started at 1900 and offset. This offset for this point that we're going to control per the template library is set at 30. So I'm going to set this to minus 30 because we're on the left side. So that's where that first piece is going to go. And I'm going to run this just for 50 feet. And the only reason I'm putting this in is to put the reverse curves so I have some tangent to put the reverse curves between. We're not really going to use this as a point control because this is part of the standard template offset. So the next piece here we're going to do at 1950. The other end and minus 30. And that's that one. And then the main portion of the turnout is going to be between 20 and 22. And that's going to be 45. We're going to add an extra 15 feet in there. So I'm going to lay this tangent out here at 20 and minus 45. And place that. And then the other end is at 22 and minus 45. And then I'm going to lay out the final piece tangent again just for the reverse curves. And that's going to be at 2250 and minus 30. And we're just going to take that out to 23. minus 30. Okay, so now we have those. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the Civil AccuDraw. I don't need that anymore. And then the next piece is just to lay out the, so I'm going to go and use the reverse curves and reverse transition. And the reverse transition, it does have at the top here, trim, extend, and I laid this out so the reverse curves will go right between these. So I don't really have a need to trim or extend. If these were a little bit longer and you needed to position that reverse curve in there, of course you'd be trimming that. Offsets, I'm not going to do any offsets. I laid these out offset to where I wanted them. So the first prompt here is to first element. I'm going to put it between here. And then the offset, I'm not doing any offset, so that's 0. And then the second one is here, and no offset. And now it's asking where does it connect to? And if I move my mouse here, it does snap to the end of the line that's offset at 45, and I can see the length there is 50. It's 50 from this initial point here. So I'm going to just see that at 50. I'm going to go ahead and enter 50 in there, lock that in, and place it. And then it does give you the option to set the other side of the reverse transition. If you move the mouse, far to the right, you see which is kind of a normal pattern of trying to lock onto the end of an alignment. So if I go to the end of the alignment here as a starting point and accept that, it puts that reverse curve in. Trim scan, mentioned this before. I'm going to just say none on this. Of course, if you had to trim, you would do that, either one side or the other, or both, and accept that. And then I'm just going to go down here and do the same thing over here. No offset, and identify the second alignment, and no offset. And I'm going to snap on to, or move over to here, and I'm just going to type in 50 and lock that in. So that puts that there. And then it's asking me for where's the end. And I'm moving my mouse over to the far right and accepting that and placing that. And trim extend none, and end off on that, escape out of that command. Now, these are still just individual pieces. You can see how they've been ruled. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the actual alignment that we're going to use for the control. And like I said, I'm not going to use these initial pieces here. This was just to help me lay it out with the reverse curves. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to complex together this piece, and this piece. So I'm going to, and when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and change the feature definition so that it's something that's more in alignment with an alignment feature definition. Let's see. Let's use alignment, and actually a rule. So let's just call it. It's a ruled alignment, and just a general control 1. And then I'm going to go to the complex and complex by element. It depending on how you have this set, it may be automatic or manual. I'm going to set it to manual because I just want to strategically pick the pieces that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over this, and notice that arrow. So I mean, intuitively, I kind of want to pick on the far end that is in the direction that I want to connect the next one to. But this tool is a little counterintuitive that way. So go ahead and pick the beginning side, and you'll see that arrow pointing there. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that, and then pick this one, and then pick the next one, and end off on that, and escape out of that command. And now we have the turnout alignment that we're going to use for the point control.